different for you from just that morning when you left and went on the drive to move. Before then, you'd never been in Golden Grove. You'd seen it only in pictures and hadn't known anybody who was a local there. But here you were, a person who lived in the town and was friends with the neighbors on both sides of your house, who also lived here. Were they friends? You thought so. And even though she wasn't here anymore, and a bunch of other things happened that day, tea was the only thing on your mind. What it was like when you first saw her in the leaf pile, when you started to talk to and know her, all that stuff. The paper airplane, she was special. The air outside kept getting even colder, but you were so warm on the inside. It was nice and comfortable in the place you were. Getting even more lost in your own imagination, you wondered when you get to see her again. Ashley, is that you? Your mom called over the fence. Coming! You bounded forward and passed through the gate. Mom had left the porch and was there to meet you. Thank you for coming back. I'm sure you're having an exciting time out there. It was great. It could have been worse. I can't believe what happened. Everything was amazing. As some kids my age. You're never going to believe what happened, I bet. But I look forward to hearing about it. From strength to strength, we've got the key to the house. The agent finally arrived with about 20 minutes ago. They're gone now, but I haven't peeked yet. The both of us should be here for this. It's your house too. Yeah, this is our house now. Absolutely. Come on. Mom turned to go and slipped the key out from her sweater pocket. She gestured with the other hand for you to follow. Your mom led the way as you went back to the stairs. The key fit perfectly into the hole on the door, and Mom smiled at the sound of an unlocking click. Carefully, she leaned forward with a shoulder, giving it a nudge. Unsure it was the best option, for the ancient door was extra force or extra restraint. The house opened with a creak. Air came out through the front like it was exhaling. Mom let out a breath at the same time. Over here, Ashley. There's a space for you to get a little closer. You can see inside here. She scooched towards her mom's side in the door frame. It was then that you noticed there was a mat at the front. It had a light color and kind of hard and fluffy texture. That sort of mat that get dirty looking right away when it was used, but it was still clean and nice. It hadn't been worn down at all like the rest of the building. This part of the house wasn't just an old thing left behind by the people who didn't need it or want it anymore. Someone must have put it there for this happening, for your mom and you moving in. Written across the top of it said, "Welcome home." Mom softly tapped the top of your shoulder, bringing you back into the moment. She kept her hand there, leading you ahead with her. The two of you walked through the door. Everything there was still. The room was blocked, but it was practically as cold inside as it was on the outside of the house. Mom shifted forward cautiously, feeling around for a light switch. Got it. A dim light from the ceiling sparked on an instant, and there in front of you was an old-fashioned living room. The house had furniture that came along with it, but wasn't a set. The pieces were mismatched, each chair, table, and bookshelf in a different color. They were covered in transparent sheets of plastic and in dust. The room had a real fireplace made out of brick. In the back you could see a staircase going up to another floor. Beautiful. It's even better than the photos. So much potential inside these walls. You were amazed, disappointed. Could work. You thought it was okay. This house was definitely haunted. Maybe it was. Just you who threw the paper alien, but this place was where the ghosts actually were. Your mom touched the tips of her fingers to the muted blue paint next to her. We'll have to clean as much as we can and make it livable before bed. It'll be a long night. We can unpack more of your things tomorrow, though I'll be doing much of that on my own. You're going to be busy. Mom increased the pitch of her voice, squinting her eyes sweetly. After all, it's the first day of 5th grade. Brightly groaned. Hope she'd forgotten. His excitement. New school, she shrugged. You covered your face, getting nervous just thinking about it. She let out a breath gently while watching you. We got here just in time, clearly. Her eyes drifted closed, and there was a crease in her brows. She seemed further away without having gone anywhere. Even if I'm here early for the job, I was going to make sure you be a full week late to class. I was not going to make you be a full week late to class. Being new to town like this is already going to make you a point of attention. You couldn't tell if she thought that was a good thing or a bad thing, by her tone. But Mom didn't say any more about that. She lifted her circle scarf over her head and careful not to have it catch on her earrings, and left it on top of her suitcase. So, want to see the upstairs? Yeah. The second floor was more of the same. Lonely, sealed away rooms with furniture nobody had been using for ages, that were covered up by plastic sheets and lots of dust. You could see the footprints of your mom left behind in the grime as she wandered the halls with wide, amazed eyes. After checking the state of the whole house, Mom made the decision to leave the furniture and its protection until after the sweeping was finished. There was too many dust bunnies that might jump over to take the seat on your couches if a spot was available. I hope I can remember where I put the dustpan. The broom itself shouldn't be hard to find. She returned to the living room after Mom got her trusty pair of crafting scissors out of her suitcase. She put her scarf inside it when taking the scissors out. Mom then went through some of the tape boxes like it was her birthday, and each one was shiny unopened present with a ribbon on top. But her gift was just stuff she already owned. One by one, she took out the supplies that had been brought for this very moment, setting them around her legs on the floor wherever there was space. Then she divided them out into separate piles. A pair of yellow gloves, a fluffy fresh duster, a bottle of cleaning spray, and a full roll of paper towels. Mom had a set of her own, and the other was for you. You were going to need them. There was also one broom and a dustpan that she did successfully find. You were going to take turns using that. First move in, then make the house a place people can actually live in. Plan was yanking open the streaky windows to get some airflow going. Though before even that, you had to get the locks on the window themselves to come loose. You dug your fingers in between the base of the window frame and the latch pressed against it, forcing it to move against its will. When the lock clicked into place on the opposite side, you shoved the window up both hands. Your gloves were already patchy with filth. The icy, crisp breeze flowed in from the outside was a lot more welcome at this point. You got a good look at the neighborhood while catching your breath. The streetlights had come on. But then left the window there to do its job and got back to yours. The two of you went back and forth and up and down around the house to open everything that you could. Some windows were jammed in place so tight that you had to leave it alone for your mom to get it later. The next point of the list was to somehow scrub down all the floors and walls, counters, and every other inch of the space where dust could settle, which was every inch of the entire house. You picked up a spot and gave it a sweep with the fuzzy head of the duster. A nice line of clear wood followed behind your motion. That pattern continued for a while, and whatever the dust layer was gone from a spot, you go back over it again with the cleaning spray to really make it shine. Your mom was able to track down and turn on the heater, not that you could tell the difference with all the windows wide open. Eventually, you had a shorter dinner break with your mom, standing around the kitchen together with the two of you as dusty as the rest of the house. It was packed meals from the car. Simple sandwiches, fruits with thick peels that wouldn't get smashed on the drive. Little bags of granola and pretzels and juice boxes. There were no groceries. The rickety fridge was off and totally empty when you checked. It was a relief there was nothing gross in there. You had prepared for the worst for such an old, practically abandoned house, but there wasn't a single bottle of nasty ketchup or box of unknown leftovers or anything. The trash from your food was dumped into the same giant black garbage bag that you've been throwing piles of gray stained paper towels and wads in. Somehow, the bag was getting full even though it was big enough to fit your whole body inside. It was a mark of how much work you'd really done. Looking at just the house made you think you hadn't even gotten started. The only way to change that was to keep going, as your mom talked about encourage yourself to clean again after dinner. You and your mom polished up the house as best you could for even more hours. But when your usual bedtime arrived, Mom put the duster and scissors down. She wasn't going to have you stay up late, no matter how excited she was to unpack. She guided you to the first floor bathroom, and on the second floor were too dirty to use, plucking her overnight bag off the counter along the way. Your mom explained how she'd do a round throughout the whole house to close the windows to keep busy until the bathroom was free, and left you to get ready to sleep. Inside the bag was the little baby-sized versions of normal toothpaste and mouthwash containers, and simple toothbrushes. All you had for pajamas that night was a green long-sleeve shirt with matching pants. Got us clean, good job washing up, you're lazy about it, fast as possible. I'm going to say you got as clean as possibly could with only a sink to use. Trying to get the grimy feeling off your skin wasn't easy and took way longer than usual, but it was crucial. You took your glasses off for bed, yes. Then you changed into PJs and let your mom have her turn. While she was away, you took your favorite stuffed animal, favorite action figure, favorite doll, blanket, pillow. I'm going to say stuffed animal. I had a favorite stuffed animal and a favorite blanket as a kid, so I'm going to go stuffed animal. The furniture was still plastic wrapped, so you crouched down and sat on the rug. Mom returned in only a couple minutes wearing her purple pajamas, and she had also had sleeping bags tucked under each of her arms. She shifted one forward to hold against the front of her chest and dropped the other onto the floor. It landed with a puff. That'll be mine, your mom noted while trying to unite the band that kept the sleeping bag together. In a roll, she pulled and pinched at the knot. When it didn't budge, she lifted the bundle to her face and used her teeth to pry the threaded bands apart from each other. She got it loose and victoriously flapped the bag all the way open. She laid it down in a clear spot on the wooden floor. There you are, Ashley, all ready. Okay. You used your feet and rocked back and forth to move yourself across the antique rug, scooting towards the sleeping bag without getting off the ground. Mom chatted casually while spreading out her own bag nearby. Well, we'll need to get some wood so we can actually use the fireplace on nights like these. Did your mom know how to use a fireplace? You've never seen one in person till now, and so far you've still never seen one that had fire in it. Luckily, the house was warm and cozy even without that, since the windows stopped letting the chill in. The heater worked. That's sort of a surprise to you. Mom soon settled down on the center of her temporary bed. She sat cross-legged with her back solely straight. Her hands came to rest on top of her knees. She made direct eye contact with you. Thank you for the help with the house today. I'll be home before we know it. At this rate, I worked really hard. I'm so tired. You're welcome. A house and home are the same thing. Roll your eyes, stretch your arms out, flop down on the bag. I worked really hard, you said while stretching your arms. I agree with that. She slouched her shoulders, easing away some of the stiffness. Hey, guess what I did in the neighborhood? What happened? She asked you how your day was. Hey, guess what I did in the neighborhood today? You hid behind the fence the entire time? No, Mom. Okay, tell me, dear. After pausing just a little to build suspense, you begin to narrate the entire story of the paper airplane adventure, from the moment it hit to the way it led you down the forest crossroad meeting Q, aka Autumn, his tower with his notebook full of loose pages, then finding Tamarick, or Tam, or I like to call her T, in her leaf pile, and all her surprises. Mom listened with her whole self, leaning forward and grinning wider with each new turn you revealed. You wrapped it up by explaining how you returned to the neighborhood with Autumn and Tea after everything you discovered. What a way to spend an afternoon. I'm proud of you, Ashley. You're a bona fide detective. I had no idea you got gotten into such a winding journey. You kicked your legs up and down on your sleeping bag, very pleased with her reaction. It was a fun story to tell. Somehow the events of that day felt like they were a long time ago, or that they had happened to someone else, and you had just heard about it. But it had been real. The paper airplane hit your shoulder. You held the note in your hands. You threw the paper away. You didn't have any idea what happened to the paper. You were saving the paper to give back. You're saving the paper to give back to T. You saved the paper with your things as a keepsake. It had nice memories that went with it. With your topic all done, Mom softly spoke up to share her thoughts with you. It's odd, imagining this entire building collecting dust for all this time, isn't it? No one wanted to live here. No renters, not the man who owned it, but it's a charming house. Yeah, it is. How did we get to have something like this? Mom pinched her lips together in consideration. Then she kept talking. There aren't a lot of opportunities out in these woods, I suppose. At my company, the retiring of the former HR manager was the first big position I've ever heard of in this area. And even that didn't open up for people already living in town. I was asked to relocate to take the position. Creases grew around her eyes. The more she thought about it, she caught herself before a frown could follow. Oh, but it's not an issue. I'm grateful. We'll find our place in the slow pace of Golden Grove, and at least we'll have each other regardless. Yep, you and me are a team. We gotta talk about stuff. We're always together. Count on me. Nodded strongly. Yawn, not paying attention. Yep, you and me are a team. A very impressive one, I'd say. Then your mom stretched her legs out fully across her sleeping bag, wiggling her toes inside the black socks she had on. Seeing Mom right there on the floor with you was cool. You didn't hang out together during bedtime like this most nights. It was special. As you thought about that, your eyelids were trying to tape themselves up with sticky, gritty stuff your eyes made when it was extra late. All right, dear, you should get inside the sleeping bag now before you blink out on top of it. That sounded like a pretty good idea. Scooping your stuffed animal into both your arms, you shimmied into the open end of the bag. It was made out of fabric that was so smooth, it wasn't difficult to do. You moved further down until the edge was to your chin. You were wrapped up like a loaf of bread in a grocery bag. Mom got to her feet, taking a short jog over to the far wall of the room. She lifted a finger to the light switch, but kept her gaze down on you. The expression on her face was gentle. Good night, Ashley. Good night, night, sweet dreams. You smiled, you stared at her, you smiled up at her. The room went pitch black with a click. While your eyes were trying to adjust, you heard the shuffling sounds of Mom. She joined you on the floor again. Those noises soon stopped. Mom didn't talk anymore. There weren't sounds of cars passing outside. There was a thumping in your ears, and you thought you might have heard a creak somewhere. The night noises were a lot different than you had experience with. They were so quiet and distant, it made you notice them more than if they were clearer. You'd have to get to know the sounds better. It was another part of the house's personality. You were okay with that. It was normal to need time to get familiar with each other. You pressed your eyes shut. In your head was thoughts of a new town, mom, autumn, tea, cute autumn, first day of school. I'm gonna say tea. Then your second day in Golden Grove arrived.